How to really tell someone you are my all, and really ride with them, and ride with them. No matter what comes close to them, hold strong. Here we go, living life so hard, living life so real, and you know that it. Oh, my love, anything for you, babe. I will just walk with you if I can carry you. Anything that you need, whatever you're searching for, and what are you waiting for, and what are you hoping for? Oh, love, but love, what are you writing for me, and why are you dodging me, always escaping me? So where do we go? Does anybody know? The way you're searching for, and what are we waiting for? What are we hoping for? Love, but what are you writing for me? Why are you dodging me? Always escaping me. Where do we go? Does anybody know how to really love someone? Choose someone through the storm, someone. But no, you lied, then you broke me down. Now you hurt me, girl. I know a man, but still, like don't stabbing me. Can't breathe right now, see right now. Well, I would receive right now. No, no, no. I don't even wanna love now. I'm so breaking down. Now I'm good, so low right now. Now you tell me I'm cold right now. No, this me trying to set and man, I'm searching now. What are we waiting for? What are we hoping for? What are you writing for me? Why are you dodging me? Always escaping me. So where do we go? Does anybody know what I really like you for? What are we waiting for? What are we hoping for? Love. But what are you writing for me? Why are you dodging me? Always escaping me. So where do we go? Does anybody know what I really like you for? What are we waiting for? What are we hoping for? But what are you writing for me? Why are you dodging me? Always escaping me. So where do we go? Does anybody know what I really like you? Searching for love. What are we waiting for? Love. What are we hoping for? Love. But what are you writing for me? Love. Why are you dodging me? Always escaping me. So where do we go? Does anybody know how to really love someone? So young, so drunk, and I'll do it again. I won't send some
Couple of minutes, getting my technical together. Just a couple of minutes. I'm getting my technical together, just so we can have this time. We've got plenty of time to talk, and we will end on time still as well. I really appreciate you taking this time out on the 4th of July. 4th of July, like nothing else we've experienced, and we're gonna spend some time together. I appreciate you all. This is your brother, Richard John Rutherford, Rich Rail. Appreciate you all. Okay, talk to you soon.
And it's pain as a lesson, even if you fall it, you'll have to learn to love for me. Build you up if you try. dumb, so I did again. I fell in love, giving everything. I'm giving my all like I never had. Excuse my flaws, 'cause nobody's perfect. Now I stand here singing, hold my heart. Thank you. No, so I say no, no. We're not going backwards, we gotta move forward and grow, grow. And it's pain as a lesson, even if you fall, and you have to learn to love me. Build you up if you trust me. No, no. We're not going backwards, we gotta move forward and grow, grow. And it's pain as a lesson, even if you fall, and you have to learn to love me. Build you up if you trust me. I said no, no. We're not going backwards, we gotta move forward and grow, grow. It's pain as a lesson, even if you fall, and you have to learn to love me. Build you up if you trust me. No, no, we're not going backwards, we gotta move forward and grow, grow. And it's pain as a lesson, even if you fall, and you have to learn to love me. Build you up if you trust me. Love. Boogie, make 'em boogie, make 'em loogie. Looking at my life, man, make 'em think twice, man, truly. What I should be, who you telling? Get out my face, man, reppin' one race, man. Who is you? Who is them?
All right, family. Here we go. Here we go. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining in and for spending this time on the 4th of July for this day one, hour one of this conversation that we started yesterday. If you didn't get a chance to watch that, guess what? No worries. You go to Mission1Race. You go to Mission1Race. You don't get the sign right. You get to go to Mission1Race. Actually, Facebook.com, Mission1Race /live. Okay, you can take a look at that recording where we just had a moment where we did a countdown, and that countdown was to what we're calling a new nation under God, which was the original plan, and that's what we're hoping to do. I can tell you this much about me, and here's the thing: the good and bad of me. I'm pretty transparent, maybe not completely, but how many of us feel like this is a heavy day? I think it's a bit of a heavy day. Okay, sounds like I'm getting some fuzziness. Is that better? Okay, so we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it right. Um, Definitely a challenging day already. I don't know if you've been reading some of the news. I don't know if you are a big Fourth of July person. We have traditions where you do things like barbecue. Where are my barbecue fans? If you can put in the chat that you like the barbecue. Let me say this, and I have an agenda, by the way. I know it sounds like at times I'm just talking all over the place, but I'm not. But barbecue needs one essential element that sometimes people forget: barbecue sauce. You can't invite me to a barbecue, okay, without barbecue sauce. There has been multiple offenders of that here in California. That does not happen in the Midwest. We know better. If we say barbecue, there's going to be some open pit. There's going to be some Sweet Baby Ray's. Shout out Chicago. Things of that sort. If I show up to a barbecue and you are grilling, you should have told me that, and I'm leaving because I don't put stuff on the grill without putting barbecue sauce on. That's an example of something that a lot of us will have to do without this year, but we're doing it. For the sake of the whole, right? For a community of us that are in a place where this coronavirus still seems to be here, resurging, all those type of things. So um, maybe you are watching this. Maybe this is your first time watching it and you don't know what's going on. This is the first time that I know of, not us. Of course, it's the first time we have because we're our newer movement, at least a newer public movement. And we're going to talk a bit more about Mission One Race throughout this, but that's not our plan. This is not a Mission One Race commercial. It is exactly what it says on there. You can see it in the comments or in some of our posts. It's 8 hours to choose. We, the people of the United States of hate or love. There's a choice. There's a choice. So the choice is hate or love, and it's not just on a collective scale. And what I'm challenging folks with is not like, oh my goodness, America is this way, or the United States of America is this way. What are we going to do? When we ask that question, we really should look into the mirror. Because the question is, what am I going to do, Richard? What are you going to do, Sharon? What are you going to do, Ryan? What are you going to do, Bobby, Clarence, Roro? What are you going to do? Because that will determine what this country is. The country itself is a conglomerate, is a collection of the citizens within it. No one can make us, I mean, thank goodness, because some places it's not that way. And we pray for them as well. But in America, we have something called freedom, and freedom to choose is the largest part of that freedom. And we can choose to be either filled with hate or filled with love. You can do that in a way and still hold people accountable and still make tangible change and still make sure folks are not in the margins. So we're taking 1 hour a day for the next 8 days. Yesterday we launched it, and we did it intentionally on the birthday. Yes, on the birthday. What birthday? America's birthday. Again, I keep saying that. People, America's a continent. I get it. North and South America. We're gonna get that corrected too. I'm gonna go back to history class. I'm an engineer, not a geographist. I don't even know if that's a thing. Okay, doesn't matter. But the reality is that the United States of America, 243, now 44, because we're in the 244th year right now, began with documents. I was going to read them. I'm trying to get the technology going. I'm going to share a document that you may not have heard a lot about, but you do know about we the people. In order to form a more perfect union, we talk about equality there, and we talk about the Declaration of Independence, where it talks about, right, that the freedom of life, liberty, happiness, and so forth. And we understand the contradiction that was happening even in 1776. I just got done watching Hamilton yesterday. I don't know if you guys have. What a timely stream. I liked it more. I sound weird here because I like it live, but for some reason, maybe it's what we're going through. Streamed yesterday, it was destroying me in a good way. I mean, destroying, like it was breaking me down. And I'm thinking, this is actually our history. You can hardly see it was tangled by a bunch of imperfect people. So let's stop acting like this thing was established perfect, but it did have a pretty epic vision. And has been struggling with the vision of what's on paper since then. But every year, just like in New Year's, you get a chance for a new calendar year, right? Every birthday, individually, we get a chance for a new birthday. I'm in my 41st year, and I'm like, when I dig down into my birthday more than I do New Year's or any other time, just FYI, because I say, this is the year I came to this planet. This is the year I came to the planet, so I'm responsible for this next year. I'm going to suck less. So you're talking to a person that's not claiming any sort of perfection in this area around bias, discrimination, prejudice, inclusion, any of that, right? Or in any other area of my life. And from that perspective, I'm talking to you as a real person that's struggling with all the energy and the tide and the normalcy around, right? Separation, segregation, us and them, pro and con, all of that energy. And I'm a person, and I think there's more. I know there's more. There's just some of us that are sleepers that think, I don't want to choose sides per se. I want justice for everyone. for whatever reason. I want equality and equity for everyone, including whatever socioeconomic, ethnic, gender, life, vocation, country, anywhere else I am. I want it for everyone. So all of that was a long intro to why we're here. And you're saying, oh, we haven't got to the agenda. This was on the agenda, and the agenda we will go through one of the principles. There's 8 principles that I was divinely inspired to walk out. And what I'm going to share with you next, I'm kind of going through my flow here. What I'm going to share with you next is actually what I call, it's actually the shorter version. I was going to show you the longer one, the launch video for the movement that started Mission 1 Race, Mission 1 Human Race, which was a race that I felt called to do as barely a novice or rookie runner, and running up the coast of California, 250 miles over 6 missions. Really, I touched 7 missions because I started in San Diego all the way to Santa Barbara. So Mission San Diego, San Juan Luis Rey, San Juan Capistrano, San Gabriel, San Fernando, San Buenaventura, and then Santa Barbara. I don't think I missed any. And that's where this launch as a race, as an event, but then also a movement, and the message that we stand by, and also the organizational journey was actually developing curriculum and collaborations and partnerships. Okay, that's where we go. So take a look. I'm going to share with you quickly. Stay with me. The launch video for that week, and this is where my heart was, and the idea, the inspiration started in 2018. I'm going to share it here, and I pray you guys enjoy it, and then we'll kind of talk. Now watch it, and we're going to discuss it in a bit as well too. So all of this, we're going to have a chance on chat for you to like talk back at me and let's lean into some things together. Okay. I'm legit telling you that I don't think any hills on the course are like this, Patrick. So you're just sick.
My name is Richard John Relaford, AKA Rich Rel. I was born in Chicago, raised in Bolingbrook, which is a southwest suburb. We were one of the few black families that moved there at the time. It shouldn't matter, but unfortunately, at times it does matter. I was the youngest boy of 11, a blended family. And there's a lot of frustrations internally, externally, and it vexed my heart, and I was a very angry guy, which in turn made me a pretty good football player. And I got a scholarship to the University of Akron to play D1 football for the Zips and obtain my mechanical polymer engineering degree. I tell you all of that because in those experiences, I've seen the beauty of diversity and inclusion and a wide range of friends and relationships, but I've seen and experienced firsthand the pain and suffering of bias and hate, and it destroys me. My dad grew up in Hope, Arkansas, picking cotton in the 50s, and it blew my mind when he said to me, Richard, you would be a fool to assume that a man is your friend because he's black or your enemy because he's white. Some of the best things that have happened to me by the love and care of some white folks, and some of the worst by the hands of some black folks. You take every man or woman for themselves. We all know there's a problem. Hate and negativity and divisiveness are highlighted with no solution every day on the news and our day-to-day conversations. But I believe there's more of us humans, right, that can look beyond color, ethnicity, sexuality, anxiety, failures, mistakes, all kinds of lacks to see that we are uniquely the same. So I'm inviting you to radically forgive, to heal, to reconcile, and ultimately love recklessly. I'm on a mission. And it all begins with the event, running 250 miles over 6 days, visiting 7 missions up the coast of California to launch this movement of love and to fund the newly created nonprofit, Mission1Race. I do not believe the lie that we are different. And I do believe that we can overcome all the issues that divide us in America and in the world. Mission1Race believes they have the message that can change the world. One mind, one heart, and one soul at a time. We are one human race. It's time we live like it. Let's do this. What was I thinking? 250 miles? There's gotta be a different way. We're always looking for someone else to do it. Martin Luther King Jr. was a man. Mother Teresa was a woman. These are people. Even if you go to the Bible, those are just people. And either you do something or you don't. Either you try or you don't. After we get invited into Mission1Race, there's no easy button. If you don't have love, you missed it. You got nothing.
You see, we went away, we came back with a better visual background, saw the upgrade. So what's the lesson in what just happened to us? The lesson in what just happened to us, and I'm gonna wait for a second because I want to start my own watch party. And here's the thing, I know you guys can watch this because you should not be outside popping firecrackers because, or maybe you can in other states, not in California. It's not a thing that we can do right now. So go ahead and come join back on. I'm gonna wait and see a few people come back, and I'm gonna take 38 minutes worth of material and do it in 18 minutes. That in itself will be potentially impressive. Okay, so this is, if you didn't see when we went live on the 3rd, that's available. You can go facebook.com, Mission1Race /live. And the first part of this, we just were live about 15-20 minutes ago. What happened? Everything, the whole internet crashed. I broke the internet. Did your internet go out as well in the United States for the 4th of July? Rich Rail trying to go live, trying to put out positive vibes about choosing love over hate, even in the midst of our pain, our tears, our moments, and saying we're not going to forget and act naive to what's happened for 243 years. We're saying on this 244th year, we're about to do it right. In the church, outside of the church, in our country, outside of our country. I'm really talking to the world, but specifically to us with the history that started in 1776 under the the colonization and the oppression at the time as a country from our colonialists, our owner, or whatever you want to call the relationship, our imperial government. But the irony was that slavery at the same time was being leaned into, not addressed, and people from early on were abolitionists and speaking against it, not as much as we would have liked to within the church, to be honest, right? Not as much as we would have liked to outside of the church. So this is a conversation for us all. And what we're gonna do is land the plane here in the first principle of potentially not just determining or saying that our lives matter. That really, you all, how do I say this lovingly? That's such a elementary, that's like if you're a child in school and you're looking to get educated, that would be like learning the alphabet in terms of the conversation of equity and equality, saying that's a letter. So absolutely, I'm thankful for what's happening, what has happened in terms of the peaceful, right, versions and expressions of saying it's not okay. Black Lives Matter. Also expressions of our police officers are valued and appreciated. Of our brothers and sisters, of communities of that have immigrated. Again, notice I try not to say immigrants, right? That's not the identity of a person, but immigrated, right? Or the person that were Native Americans here and so forth. That's not the whole of the person, how we were created and valued. But my point is, all of us, right, can make a decision, make a choice individually, collectively to move forward, and then the nation changes. Then it becomes a new nation. There are absolutely systemic issues. So if you take all of your eggs and you put them in that basket and you say, let's get all the laws in place, all of the systemic ways that socioeconomically, gender-wise and so forth, right, that we can think of. It's almost like program the best laws in place. Let me tell you what will happen with hate, because hate is relentless. It will find ways to subjugate. It will find black markets to sex traffic. It will find way. You get what I'm saying? It will hate will find a way. That's why the Mission One Race, is everything in between and through, saying that we are uniquely the same. When you look at a person and you say to yourself, I may not understand, but I see the value that the dignity, the intrinsic value that God has placed in you, and I don't have the right to take it or to misapply or deny it, whether I agree with you or not, right? Whether I can completely understand or not, then we're going somewhere. So I'm touching around our word for today. You've heard it come up multiple times, and actually we're trying to start this watch party this whole time. So I need to stop talking so I can start this watch party, so I can share it on my page. You guys maybe share with us. I'm gonna mute for a second and see my sidekick, see if there's any comments or anything like that I should address. Because again, I'm gonna stick to this time and land the plane, but I wanted to make sure we came back on, because I do believe that there's a supernatural element to this, where one of the easiest ways to destroy a country, or destroy a people, or to oppress folks, or to speak falsely to the God that actually loves us, is to make people think that he's actually saying, I believe one group is greater than the other. I believe one color that I've made is superior to the other. That's not a thing. So I think it's important right now for us to lean and do the opposite of what we're seeing some folks do. Say, all right, I see you. I recognize your uniqueness. I thank you. I'm not afraid of it. I'm going to lean into it. Help me understand. So go ahead if you have anything to say in the chat. All right, here's the awesome part, and this is why I think that today happened this way, amongst other things. Whether it's this conversation, whether it's any other conversation that's tough. And if you haven't watched the first part of this one, please do, because I'm going to roll right into what I need to say. But the reality is that there we go. The reality is that this moment will not happen again. That this moment won't happen again. Right? Like this certain climate where we are right now in our country, what the world's going through. For some reason, what the world's going through. And what we have in front of us, along with the opportunity. And again, I thank you for being patient with even watching this stream and knowing that this is volunteer based. Whatever we do have going on in terms of folks running the race coming up, which we're going to talk a bit more about the Journey 2020, or folks that are members or that are starting to lean into our one communities and things like that. Just know that I would have this conversation, and I have had it, with one person at a time. Like, I want thousands of people to hear it. I want thousands and millions of people to watch the documentary, not because I'm in it, not because of anything else besides the fact that I truly believe one of the statements that I said when the coronavirus was happening, I was like, wow, in a very humbling way, doesn't this land the plane on the fact that there's no getting around this virus spread around this world like a brush fire. And for a moment in time, you didn't have to ask another human, right? How's life? Or what are you going through? Isn't that crazy? There's a crazy backwards form of unity that potentially happened in that. right? And then in the midst of that, what I also saw with the heinous crimes, right, and there some of the hate that rose to the surface. The thing that was different this time when I look at tapes from the past is I looked out and it looked like a rainbow, and I'm using that kind of intentionally, a rainbow of humanity out there saying, we don't want, when we come on the other side of this, we don't want to be the same. Not only do we accept the fact that we won't be the same as a society, we don't want to be the same. So what if we all took that posture? And again, that's what the point is with this 8 hours to choose. We're on the 4th of July. Not once have I ever had a thought until this year where I said, wait a second, let's be, I mean, I would think about it, but not in a tangible birthday type of way. Let's just be better. Let's just be better. So let's lean into these principles, because again, we're not going back. You're going to see the rest of them as we move forward. I got to bring my notes back up if I can. Oh, if I can find them. I hope I didn't stop my watch party. My goodness, I'm feeling like this is the first time I'm feeling like I'm old school. What am I doing with my life? I think I just ended my watch party. No, it's still going. I think it's still going. I thought I ended my watch party because I closed my app. Don't make enough jokes. All right, so we are leaning into the conversation around understand. Let me say this with when you look at the definition of it. The components that I think about when you look into a word or seek to explain it, you got to back up and you got to say, okay, what's the foundation for it? And we have a foundational verse right now. You can look it up if you want. I don't have time right now to read it. It's Proverbs 18:2. It basically says a fool seeks not to understand, but to only win or express his own opinion. I paraphrased. This is a fool does that. If our only goal in any conversation, whether we think we're right or not, is to get our point across, we're wrong. We're wrong. Let's look at the dictionary of it. Even the word, when you break it down, understand. See, the reason why, like, understand, we don't want to admit it, is there's some humility that's a prerequisite to understanding. To stand under, to have somebody else's perspective or moment and just be quiet and listen. Don't prejudge, don't have bias, right? Any of that stuff, and just listen and go, wait a second. I guarantee you when that happens, there hasn't been once when I've sought to understand a subject or definitely a human or perspective where I've not said, I thought I knew, but I guess I didn't completely know, or I've been completely off. Understanding is the first step and the first principle in our curriculum, in the journey to take, in all of this. So when we're looking at the news and we're getting fed all kinds of stuff or conversations that are just one directional, we all should pause. We all should pause and go like, wait a second. I mean, it's very few times in our life where anything is 100% that perspective. Check this out. Even if it's a person, what do we do here? What if there's a person that absolutely has been through this, that absolutely was prejudiced, that was biased, but they had an awakening through this coronavirus pandemic and through the visual of another human life or lives suffering when it comes to life, and they shifted. Are we welcoming to that journeyman or journeywoman? Are we welcoming to the fact that they're saying, I'm ready to step, but this is my first step? But if they don't know all the right words to say, are they out? What if God, for us, for believers, what if God did that to us on so many other areas? We got to be careful. We got to be careful. If there's no place for a person to make a course correction or have repenting of a situation, and I'm not getting in your social character-based choices. So everybody gets this confused. I'm not talking relational stuff. I'm telling you to stay with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, your husband, wife. That's not my business. I'm talking about human to human, on outside things, on opinions, on political views, right? All the things that we use as false degrees of separation. A real degree of separation is somebody abusing you. Understand? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about false ones, what they do for a living, what they've done in the past, or where they live, what country they have, what accent they might have, the fact that they've immigrated, or whatever the case may be. Those are the false degrees, and those are the things that we're talking about that we want to uproot. Let's keep going through it, okay? Now watch this. Here's the powerful place, and we're going to land this plane, believe it or not. Not anything like what I thought it would go, but we're going to land this plane. If we said the prerequisite is humility, the product of understanding, prerequisite to understanding is humility, because you can't even seek to understand. We're so prideful that whatever that person says, right, or whatever we don't like about them, or what we thought, or whatever past experience we had, we've already shut it down, right? Then we can't even get there. So we have to humble ourselves, and then on the back end of it becomes grace. See, because we understand, you're like, wait a second, I still don't agree with that action, but okay. Then comes some mercy, and then comes the next principle, which is tomorrow, where there's potentially space on all ends for forgiveness. So what I'm looking, when we're looking towards where do we go from here on this day, I start thinking in the discussion we were going to have, so that's really the time that we lost, was really a discussion around, and all of us have experienced this, right? Where we're actually seeking, there's something in us that's saying, I'm actually seeking to understand something, or I'm open to seeking to understand something or someone that I haven't, and I just don't know where to start. That's okay, wrestle with that. The next thing is, I guarantee all of us have been here in different levels. I've been judged for something as simple as being an athlete. I remember I was in college, like just being a scholarship athlete. I come into my engineering classes, they're like, look here, Jack. I'm like, what the heck? I even talk yet? We're not going to take it easy on you. You're not getting any help. Now, I'm going to have a moment of non-humility. I'm thinking I'm smarter than 95% of y'all in here. So thank you. I'm not in your study group. You lost. But that's the area of me. But that's a perfect example. I was like, wait a second. I didn't open my mouth. And that wasn't even necessarily ethnicity. That was just me being an athlete, right? Coming into a college class. So that was an example of longing for. There's an area where you're like, I wish somebody would understand where I'm coming from, how I feel inside, what I've been through, right? And I think that will also land the plane for us. So the final thing, as I leave you with 3 points after this. So I would say the final thing. It's sort of a message thing. You've seen people speak. It's always the final thing. Is a decision. What have we all, for whoever watches this replay, even though it was broken up, and that's why it was broken up, I just believe in that. Because if we take a posture of understanding, there's a lot more listening that's going to happen, right? There's a lot more things that are going to be worked through. Let's just decide. Let's decide right now that on this day one, for the rest of this day and through this 8-day journey, that our first posture is one of humility and understanding, okay? So here's our threes. Here's the 3 things that I want you to take away for the 3 points and then the 3 CTAs. 3 points is this. And I said this on the first one. I think in my heart, I'm thinking, well, I need to say this each and every time in this 8 days. Because again, this is day one of our birthday. We've done America, the United States of America has done nothing wrong right now. Isn't that crazy? We'll look at the end of the day and see what's happening, and we've done nothing wrong. There's past before this year. I'm saying this year. I'm saying this year of our country's existence, according to the date that was given, right? We've done nothing wrong. And some stuff right, or whatever the case may be, we know that tally would change, but the point is, it is a fresh start. So here's the 3 things. We are the United States of America. The one I'm talking to. If you're here as a citizen, however you got here, visa, whatever the case may be, we're living, we belong to each other. Number 2 is, so because of that, you have freedom to choose. That's one of our freedoms. So that's number 2. So we're the United States of America. You can't say, oh, what's wrong with this country? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? Right? 2, we have the freedom to choose. So 3, what are we going to choose? We're saying choose to love, and specifically to stand in a posture of understanding. So this is what we do. Join us tomorrow. Share it and join us tomorrow. Number 2, right? I would go ahead, if you haven't watched it, again, you're going to see my face and hear me talking more. You'll get over it, and you might start tolerating. No, it's going to be good. It's not even about me. You're going to see it's about love. It's about a calling and someone saying, I'm going to just try this. So you can find it on YouTube, or our page here. It's called Man on a Mission: The Search for Oneness. We've had tens of thousands of views. I know we'll have millions one day as you continue to spread it, and folks are getting touched by it, and that's what makes me feel good about it. And at the time, shout out to my boy Patches O'Houlihan, also known as Patrick Van Busicum, who was the first person that even, he wasn't even in on it. He just said, dude, I think you're crazy. I'll record it. And last but not least, visit the website, Mission1Race.org, and invite other folks into it. So if you don't mind, I'm going to do a short prayer because it's our day, our birthday. Happy birthday, United States of America. And I'm going to profess that it's the United States of love in this year. 243rd year. It wasn't a ton of it. I know there was those of us out here holding up the flag, but it wasn't a ton of it. But we can change it, right? We can change that. It's 300 and I think 50 million of us. It would be a majority loving first, understanding first country if we just as a majority make that choice and decision. All right. Lord, thank you for my brothers and sisters. I pray this spreads over this country, this understanding and the forgiveness, relating, healing, connecting, then reconciling, loving, and taking action over this next 8 days supernaturally, starting with me first, and then the Mission1Race staff and volunteers, and then this city, and then this country, and then this continent and the planet. One person can make a difference. They had throughout history. I would gladly continue to, if you allow me to, be some sort of seed and humble, broken point of hopefully ripple effect. Because there's so many other people, like we said, tens of thousands now, where it's rippling and going out. I pray that every person hearing this would do that same thing, regardless, even of this prayer of their faith, right? Because we all need positivity and love in this day. Amen.